So, greetings, ladies and gentle people. As you can tell, we have gone a little bit back into the past, where we're going to be reviewing a game on KGS, as at one point in time we were wont to do. And boy, do I have a game for you. I must caution all of you right at the start, this is not a game for the faint of heart. This is a lovely Japanese game that is probably going to be told for many a year around a Go player's campfire. For this is a frightening tale of the out-of-control influence. Now, you need not know who the players are. I have hidden their names to protect the innocent. If you really, really insist on knowing who played, you can check the names down below. It is okay. You can do so. But yes, a tale of the out-of-control influence just played the other day, don't you know? Our tale begins with Black taking a 3-4 point, and White playing 4-4, a nice innocent little 4-4 point that invites diagonal play, anything and everything, don't you know? Black takes 2 3-4 points, so we know now that clearly he is into a territorial game. Or is that just what he wants you to believe? Another 3-4 point taken by White. Tight enclosure taken by Black, confirming again that he is interested in territory. If White so chooses, being on the 4th line, he could easily expand to an influential game, but hang on a minute. Influential game? That's not the era we're in nowadays, now is it? We're in an era of territory. We go for territory. We give influence away. Because it doesn't have much value anymore, does it? No, of course not. The AI doesn't prefer it. So that is what has now come to be what we call meta. But is that truly wise? To forsake the centuries of playing for influence, the sole interest of playing territory to pacify our AI overlords? We'll see how that works out for him. Low approach, suggesting also going for territory. Nice back off. Everything's fine so far. Into an enclosure. Large night enclosure. Okay. Could be territory, could be influence. It's nice and flexible. Black approaches. White backs off. As we do nowadays, pincering doesn't really have a lot of value. I mean, just giving up the corner, getting a wall here, it's kind of hard to use that, you know? If you play something like this, it's like it doesn't really have any connotations with the lower left. I mean, we can expand and play this. Lee Chang-ho was a fan of this shape back in the day. It's not terrible, does give away influence, and then at that point, I guess we'd probably see pincers and what have you. But you can't look at this board without feeling like black stones are working kind of nicely together, and white, not so much, you know, not so much. So alright, White backs off. Black throws in the pincer. White says, I know my basics, sir. I am not going to respond to your pincer on my lower right-hand cornerstone because it is currently 3v1. And one thing that we know from basics is in the beginning of the game, you can ignore 3v1 because you're already going to take a pretty inferior result there. If your opponent decides to invest to be at 4v1 5v1 and then a full-on 6, well, if you can't get, like, that area over there in compensation elsewhere with 3 whole new stones, that's very, very strange. Like, you can imagine... Like, we can imagine in our mind's eye, if you will, like 3 extra stones. 3 extra stones, right? So, how about... Ooh, I don't know. We could do 1, 2, and then, maybe even a 3rd over here or something. I think those 3 moves are worth the value of that 1 stone just dying, don't you? Of course you do. Of course you do. So, don't have to really fear this stone being killed off right now. Kind of over-concentrated to go after right now. So, understanding this, 3v1 versus 3v1, not a problem. Black says, "Excuse me, sir. What is your answer to what has become one of the most common probes in the game right now? A lot of large knights being played, a lot of attachments being played. Fairly straightforward." White says, "I want my territory. You can have your influence by further playing here." Okay. Okay. Black says, "Playing for territory, of course. I just want to settle." But White wants to play for territory as well. So he plays the Hane. And in response to this Hane, he plays another Hane. Now that is a complicated move. The simple move would be to play here and just allow something like this to be played, right? You eye the fact that we have a framework on the board and seek to remove its potential with your own influence. But no. White does not believe in the power of influence. White believes in the power of territory. And so he Hanes again, seeking to keep all of his territory. But here's the problem. When you disrespect influence, it can get out of control. And these 3 stones that we see here do not die easily. So Black pincers, expanding his area of influence as he was allowed to do across the entire board. White now has to figure out how to reduce all of this. He begins off with a nice solid 1-point jump. Black moves to make shape, knowing he's under attack. And there's the board position that we have now. Influence across the entire board. A weak group on the run. All because he refused to accept influence, because he does not believe in influence this game, it would appear. But his opponents, his opponent surely does. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I will state that the AI judges this position as a 50-50 for now. Next move is a must. Going in for the shoulder hit, not allowing Black to further solidify this upper right hand quadrant because it is absolutely enormous. Black counterattacks because that means White has 2 weak groups. And yes, now White needs to juggle 2 weak groups simultaneously for this to be an even result. Doesn't let the connection under happen because that would be huge. Black jumps up. Why does he jump up? Because he's got 2 groups on the run And now white, trying to play simple, makes a 1-point jump. Makes a 1-point jump. There's only one minor problem here. The AI says that is a bad move. AI wants this group to settle as soon as possible. And the act of jumping the larger group, as you would imagine, is actually quite the percent lost. Even though it looks completely obvious, completely basic, the territorial game he has invited upon himself is not one that allows for simple and basic moves. No. You have to juggle multiple groups at the right time with the right moves to keep it 50-50. But unfortunately, he didn't get that memo and he jumped. Black should go under, but he chooses to remain solid because when you are the one with the influence, your solidity is going to be worth more than your opponent's. Trying to keep him unsettled. Moves to surround and continue building that influence. White finally drops back and plays the AI move. But as you can see, he's sandwiched between two strong positions, and this one isn't looking very good either. I do want to point out that this game is not played between two new professionals. This game is actually played between two professional 9-dans in a title match. This game took 2 days to play. 2 days that will now haunt White for the rest of his days as he watches in horror the influence that is not supposed to be worth very much nowadays growing out of control. He extends up. White finds Black jumping out, threatening to cap all the things. Black tries to keep pressure on the corner in order to settle. Doesn't bite. He doesn't go into the whole being driven thing and being given a lot of shape to the opponent. No. He just makes a nice simple move. No more forcing moves for White. You want to settle here, says Black, and you will have to do it all on your own. Another painful move for White. Another huge percentage lost. Because this is not the move. This is not the important area of the board. It is this one. But I mean, if you allow the cap, that's huge too, unless you can spot the exact variation White wants you to play in order to play this way. Or not White, sorry, that the AI wants you to play in order to play this way. So he jumps out. Black's like, fine, I'll just keep building. And it is at this point that White has all but lost his chance to win this game. Move 40. Influence off the scales. He's trying to settle. He's trying to salvage this. But no, for not respecting influence and only keeping his eye on territory, the game just spirals that bloody quickly. It's an insane game to look at. I have seen a lot of scary games where influence has gone out of control because one player or the other decided to play some AI variations that were not as simple as they at first appeared. But this one is probably the easiest one to follow that I have seen all year. Breaks the connection. Trying to get life. goes for the stone, and a brilliant sequence played by Black. White goes for the double Atari. Black takes. White goes for the Atari. Black hits him back with a counter Atari. Because that is not shape. It's not shape. Just isn't. Goes into the corner. Extends out. I wanted this one to be a little bit probably more secure, but okay. This one's fine too. It's at this point that White has about a 4% chance to win. It's insane. Especially in a title match. I have never seen a more one-sided game. I can't remember a single time I've seen this. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Has to try to go for some kind of co-shenaniganery. Moves to surround, saying, yeah, only by co will that live. White takes. Black says, hey, can I build the bottom? Can't take that stone. Back to co. Can I kill your group? Nah. Take. Don't get attacked. You'll note that they've forgotten about this right now. Because you have to also mind this. Right? Like the minute he took here and got the jump in, it's threatening the other group because there are 2 weak groups on the board. So Black gets to connect. White tries to attack. So Black makes shape. But look at that insane right-hand side. Have you ever seen a game like this? A professional, highest caliber game. Have you ever seen a game like this? It's, as Peyton says, it just got out of control insanely fast. And now for the rest of this game, for now, rather, we just have White struggling to make anything happen from a losing position. Strengthening. Settling. White tries to keep up the pressure because he's got to do something. There's got to be profit had here, given that upper right-hand result. Comes on out. White pushes in. Black backs off. White doesn't want to be surrounded. Black comes out to put pressure back on his opponent. Note, he is not just choosing to settle here, right? He's not just going for moves like this because the wall then turns around and attacks the bottom of the board. So that would be profit. That would be profit. So, okay. Out he goes. White trying to get something done. Cut doesn't work, though, because this is really strong shape. So that stone gets sliced off. Everything seems nice and strong. Time to go for a co. Only chance we have left now for White. Oops, hold up. Oh, I can't undo that either. I just ruined the tree. Oh, it happened. It had to happen eventually. Had to happen eventually. He goes for this one first. Right. And Atari there. Retake, defend. Enlarge the co. Another huge move. Go ahead and take. Back off there too. Can go ahead and probably kill you upper right. Extends back, threatens to surround and kill it. Trying to still handle all of this weak stuff. Black says, I'm just going to settle. That might appear strange to some people. Like, why isn't he, like, hammering down and trying to kill? The reason is actually quite simple. The reason he's not hammering down and trying to kill is because white has no points. White has no points. So if black has the top, and he settled here, and the bottom's still in development, can black get more than 30 points? Yeah. Without a doubt. He can probably get 50 points. Moving to settle. Dead. Threaten cut through. Not a problem. Now all of this is solid territory. Going ahead and squeezing. Fixing the shape. Not being dead. And then just taking his territory. Just taking his territory. Because what's white going to do? White's trying to attack the center. Black pokes in. He's got the Hane, he's got the pokes, the cuts. White says, maybe you're not alive right now. So black says, fine, I'll turn on the 7th line. Are you really going to keep trying to defend here? Because I'll take entirely too many points now. White says, no, you can't do that. Black says, are you sure? Are you sure I can't do that? Are you absolutely sure I can't do that? White says, oh my god, that's entirely too huge. I have to do something about that too. And that's the story of this game. He's just too busy. Don't let the stones die. Threaten to cut. Nicely aggressive move. Making sure our 2 eyes are nice and happy. He's trying to poke. Making sure we're fine. He's trying to ruin the tree again. Trying to poke. Make sure we're nice and fine. Pushing our way to safety. Yeah. We're absolutely fine here, because if he cuts, we just take, no problem. White has to try to kill the left-hand side. There goes the cut. So he takes. Cuts again. Atari takes. Nicely alive now. So this left-hand group for black is completely solid. And white got, or sorry, that black got the bottom territory as well. There is technically a thing he could do here, that's true. And it opens up another Ko. That's true. Hane. Keeps the points. Trying to keep black low. That's fine. Defends. Defends. Pokes. Pokes, pokes. Making sure we're still nicely out with our 2 little eyes. And now that we are now out with our 2 little eyes, we have to ask ourselves, what chance do we have this game? Okay, that's not dead, dummy. How do I do this? Let's go ahead and skip that here real quick and make sure that that's connected. There we go. Okay, the score estimator on I admit, the score estimator on KGS is the worst score estimator I've ever freaking seen in my life. So this is completely wrong. Black is not up by 4.5, he is up by a lot. Because this isn't magically territory for white. This isn't magically territory for white. These stones aren't dead. Essentially, he's up like 20, 30 points. Black's up about 20, 30 points when he's nice and safely out at this position. So white resigns in horror. Because the minute that influence was given away to his opponent, he was able to do nothing for the rest of the game. He was just trying not to die. Not in 2030. It's 20 or 30. But yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And all because he decided to play a territorial variation here instead of a much, much simpler one where he just goes and connects up. You know? He just went for the territory, said the influence doesn't matter, and it smacked him silly for the rest of the game. At a professional level. At a professional level. That's so rare to see. That someone just gets completely dominated in that fashion. Like, for most of this game, the AI had white at like a 2 to 4% chance to win. Like, almost none. Almost none, because the influence just blew up. Because unfortunately, reducing influence on this scale is actually really tough to do. It's hard to juggle all this complication, even at the highest levels of play. It's just a lot to think about, a lot to keep in mind, a lot to read out. You have to get everything just perfect. Because when you don't, like, these little 1-point jumps kept costing him like 10% in the game. They look simple, right? They look simple, they look obvious, but white can't afford that right now. He can't afford simple and slow. Not on a board like this. And it just swallowed him. It just swallowed him. I'm sure white's going to have nightmares about this game. White is going to have nightmares about this game. And I hope you do too. I hope you do as well. It was definitely an interesting one to take a look at. I watched a lot of it live on on Fox, and it was just crazy to see. Absolutely crazy to see. So yeah, I hope you find folks on Twitch and those of you on YouTube later take this lesson to mind and don't underestimate influence. Because when it starts to kill you, it does not let up. And it could bury your chances to win really, really, really fast. In the meantime, hope you enjoyed this game, and I'll see you next time.